Pop Warner Football introduces youngsters as young as 5 to the rough and tumble of tackle football, coached by volunteers.
I tell these kids they need to believe in me first. Once they believe in me, I think I can bring out the best in them.
This man coached a team of 13-year-olds, and the instruction included techniques in tackling.
I can't imagine a coach ever telling his kid, go out there and spear him. Hit him with your head down. That's football 101. Keep your head up.
9 months ago, this fateful play.
I'd never heard a sound so bad or a hit so loud. I see Donovan face down. His body was limp.
Young Donovan Hill was paralyzed. He says he was tackling the way he'd been coached.
Where did you learn that technique?
Coaches.
Your coaches?
Yeah.
What did you think of that technique? Did you have any concerns about it?
Yes. I didn't like it.
Did you express those concerns?
Yeah. I told him that this is not the right way you hit.
I don't recall a conversation like that happening.
Today, Outside the Lines, questions of coaching and safety in youth football. As our series continues, football at a crossroads.
And now, reporting for Outside the Lines, Bob Lee.
A recent survey of sports fans and parents discovered they believe that age 13 was the earliest on average for youngsters to be introduced to tackle football. Now, last week on this program, Herm Edwards, who has spent his entire life in the game, put that bar at high school. No tackle football any younger. So while the spotlight on football safety issues often settles on the 1,700 NFL players, there are 3 million American youngsters playing youth football, with Pop Warner leagues beginning as young as age 5. Now, ideally, safety is always the first concern here, but with that comes safe tackling. But is that even realistic or possible? As our series Football at a Crossroads continues, Tom Ferry's report will illustrate the difficulty of finding that answer or even the truth behind a tragedy.
Birds, you were great tonight!
Like thousands of men around the country,
This one's for you!
Sal Hernandez is a Pop Warner football coach.
I coach with a lot of love and discipline. I tell these kids they need to believe in me first. Once they believe in me, I think I can bring out the best in them.
Last season, his Los Angeles area team featured 13-year-old two-way star Donovan Hill. Donovan Hill, was he one of the kids who bought into Sal Hernandez?
You know what? Donovan is, you talk about a go-getter. He just went so hard all the time. You know, that was this, you know, the competitiveness, the feistiness in that kid.
He was known for his breakaway speed on offense and tenacity and ability to run down opponents on defense. His mother, Crystal, says he was making plans to play in college.
It was his life. It was everything to him. You know, everything he did was to get to the next level.
Last November, his team advanced to the Southern California Championship game. Donovan took a handoff on their third play from scrimmage and went 40 yards for the game's first score.
First time he got the ball, he actually broke a few tackles and got to a touchdown, and that just set us all up, and we were pumped.
Then, late in the game, near this goal line, a moment that would change lives in the blink of an eye. Donovan was on defense when fullback Corey Solinsky broke into the secondary and approached the goal line. And what do you see?
Donovan trying to tackle me.
You saw him coming?
Yeah, I saw him coming.
And how did you?
He was getting low, so we just kind of collided.
All I could remember was the sound of it. I'd never heard a sound so bad or a hit so loud. To the point where when I saw it, I said, one of them's not gonna get up. I see Donovan face down. His body was limp.
It instantly got really quiet. Donovan wasn't moving at all.
And that's when things start to run through my mind about this might be serious.
And what were you feeling inside at that moment?
Numb. Numb. The game wasn't even important anymore for me.
They wheeled him into the ambulance. The first thing he looked up and he goes, "Mom, I love you." That's the only thing he said is, "Mom, I love you." Like he was telling me that he was okay.
But Donovan Hill was not okay.
I remember I was on the bed and they was asking. They was seeing what I could feel or not. I was like, "Can you feel this? Can you feel that?" And I kept saying no.
Doctors confirmed what everyone feared. Donovan's neck was broken. He was paralyzed from the neck down. A closer look at the play reveals what happened. Donovan led with his head when making the tackle. Worse yet, his head was down. Was this something Donovan did a lot, putting his head down?
Unfortunately, yeah. Donovan was our player that just seemed to come in a lot like that. And I'll be honest, I would say things like, you know, you keep hitting like that, you're going to end up in a goddamn wheelchair.
Throughout the season, Donovan consistently led with his head when trying to make a tackle, a dangerous technique banned by Pop Warner and other organizations all the way up to the NFL. Where did you learn that technique?
Coach it.
Your coaches?
Yeah,
Yeah, which coach?
I don't know if there's only one. Mostly my head coach, Sal.
The head coach, Sal Hernandez.
Yes.
And what did you think of that technique? Did you have any concerns about it?
Yes. I didn't like it.
You didn't like it. Did you express those concerns?
Yeah. I told him that this is not the right way you hit.
The right way to hit, according to Pop Warner's online training course, is to keep the head up and slide it to the outside of an opponent's body before making contact. Hernandez denies teaching bad technique.
I can't imagine a coach ever telling his kid, go out there and spear him.
Right.
Hit him with your head down. That's football 101. Keep your head up.
But Pop Warner rules ban not just spearing, launching at an opponent with the top of the helmet. They also ban face tackling with the forehead, a technique that Hernandez and his coaches did promote. Donovan says he raised his concerns about head-first tackling in a one-on-one hitting drill early last season when a teammate used his head as a weapon.
I told the coach that I'm going to get hurt like this. Like, I don't want to. This is not the right thing to do. And they just told me to, like, stop whining. And they sent me to the back.
Do you recall that situation?
No.
At all?
No.
You don't recall any situation where a kid was leading with his head and Donovan complained and you said, "Donovan, stop complaining"?
No, I don't recall a conversation like that happening.
Coach Sal said he didn't remember that particular situation, wasn't sure if he was there.
Yeah, he was.
He was there?
Yeah.
And he was yelling it at Donovan?
Yeah.
And what was Coach Sal telling Donovan?
Same thing as all the coaches, get back in line, stop being scared.
Assistant coach Manny Martinez confirmed the incident.
I know the exact moment. We have this kid, he goes in to hit Donovan, and Donovan kind of backs out. And we're saying, "What are you doing? Go hit. There's your hitting drills, you got to go." He's saying he's hitting with his head. It's like, no, he's not hitting with his head, he's hitting with his forehead. That's kind of where you're supposed to hit if you're going head up.
And after that, I just started hitting with my head because that's what they told me to do.
As a head coach, Hernandez was required to pass Pop Warner's online training course. Assistant coaches like Martinez aren't even required to review the materials, and he says he never did. So how do you know about tackling?
Been playing since I was 10 years old.
But how do you know what is truly the right way versus what you've learned in the past if you haven't taken the test and learned the curriculum?
I couldn't say. I mean, I only know what I've been taught. I've been taught, and like I said, I think it's the right way. It's the right way to do it because I've never been injured and I played my whole life.
Ready? Wait. Let's go.
Now, this is Donovan's life. A medical bed in the apartment he shares with his aunt and his mother, and a wheelchair where everyday life has become a struggle.
Pushing and pulling, pushing and pulling.
Already, Donovan's rehab and medical bills have topped $2 million.
We need to elongate your arms, remember? We don't want your arms stuck in that position, okay? Find that center of mass for me. Hurts?
His mother's insurance, through the grocery store where she works, covers 80%, leaving her hundreds of thousands in debt with no end in sight.
I have no idea how I'm going to pay that. I have no idea what's going to happen to my baby when he's 18 and of age. Who's going to help him? Where is it going to come from? It breaks my heart. It hurts. It makes me angry.
I guess that's what makes me feel bad, is I did the best I could. I did all I could do, and this still happened. It still happened.
This year, Sal Hernandez takes over the freshman team at the local high school. He and Manny Martinez are now estranged from Donovan and his mother after hearing the family talk to a lawyer about their legal options.
So who bears responsibility for what happened to you?
The people that taught me how to hit this way.
Your coaches. What emotions do you have for your coaches?
I still love all my coaches.
Still love them?
Yeah, all my coaches, yes.
He said, I still love my coaches. How does it make you feel?
I love him, and I miss him.
What would you like others to learn from your situation?
Do what you think is the best and never be pressured into doing something you know that isn't right.
Tom Ferry reporting this wrenching story. He joins us. How is Donovan doing, and what will his medical bills and rehab bills eventually grow into? What will this cost?
Well, to your first question, a little bit of good news there. He was able to pick up a cup the other day.
That's
Still
great.
doesn't have feeling in his fingers, but he's getting a little bit of movement in his hands. He's working very hard at his rehab. Look, he's a quadriplegic. There's going to be many years of very expensive medical care and rehab ahead of him. Could cost tens of millions of dollars.
Inevitably, in any case like this, legal action, civil suit becomes a possibility than a probability. Where does that stand with his family?
They're working with a lawyer who says that he will file a lawsuit probably later this year, and needs to figure out who the plaintiffs are going to be. Could be the coach, could be the assistant coach, could be the local Pop Warner affiliate, could be Pop Warner National. Typically in lawsuits, they go for the deep pockets, which would be Pop Warner National. Volunteer coaches have a certain level of protection due to a federal law in 1997 that was signed by President Clinton, saying that, you know, it has to be a level of gross negligence for a coach to be held accountable. But, you know, we'll see what kind of claim they can make against National Pop Warner.
And if that is the case, and it proves to be, they go after Pop Warner, the corporate entity, what would their pushback be? What would their defense likely be?
They would say, look, it's right there in our rules that face tackling is not allowed. The coaches should have known that. They shouldn't have been teaching that. And then the pushback from the Hill family will be that, well, you know, you didn't make sure that the assistant coaches were trained as well. And was there any accountability built into these head coaches? I mean, how do you know that they were following the rules? I mean, is anybody being suspended? Is anybody being penalized for teaching this kind of technique?
Now, you had an opportunity recently to speak with the executive director of Pop Warner Football, John Butler, about the new rules that Pop Warner has instituted, and also specifically about the case of Donovan Hill. Here's his response to Donovan's case.
It's a terrible tragedy. I mean, there's no question. I think I told you I went out and visited the week after it happened, and Donovan was running a fever the day I was there, which is evidently pretty typical, so I didn't actually get to meet him. But I spent a couple of hours with his mother and grandmother and coach.
What does it say to parents that if their kid does get catastrophically injured, that they have to sue you or fight you to get their medical bills paid?
I think our insurance coverage is as good as, and probably better than most other youth programs.
And what does the Pop Warner insurance policy provide?
It's $100,000 per incident.
Is $100,000 sufficient?
For a medical accident, we think so.
Well, with a catastrophic injury, you can go well beyond $100,000.
Definitely, definitely.
It's a pretty scary proposition, though, isn't it? I mean, if you're a Pop Warner parent, I'm just trying to put myself in that position. You're going to sign your kid up for football. Mm-hmm. He might be coached by someone who has not learned proper technique on tackling. He might get injured in a way that could be pretty serious, and it could cost my family everything that it has, and then some.
That can happen in anything your child does. It can happen in any sport. It can happen riding in the car with a neighbor. Again, we're doing the best we can. I think the local volunteers certainly do the best they can.
Tell me about your coaches' training. What do you do to train coaches?
We require at least all of our head coaches to take a course. We strongly encourage our assistant coaches to take that same training.
But why not require all assistant coaches take this test?
A lot of times they're not getting signed until practice has already started. So technically you're too late at that point. There is a cost involved, which in some cases is paid by the local Pop Warner program. Sometimes, very often, it's coming out of the coach's own pocket.
How much does the test cost?
$19.95.
Why not just make it free if it's that important for coaches to know the proper technique?
You'd have to consider we are a typical nonprofit with very limited resources. If you have 20,000 coaches taking that at $20 each, that far exceeds any budget we would have available for it. We've never been able to find sponsorship to make it available free.
So, John, what are the new rules you're introducing?
So the first rule we introduced limits by time the amount of contact allowed in practice to no more than 1/3 of practice. So no drills, full speed drills, scrimmages, anything beyond that time limit. And then the second rule says that no full speed head-on-head drills where the players start more than 3 yards apart.
Oh my gosh.
We're dealing with volunteer coaches who there's no guarantee of what their pedigree, their history is in the game, but there's certainly a few who, kind of go back to the Vince Lombardi wannabe mentality that, we buckle on our helmets and tighten up our chin straps and we just go at it.
I got a note from the president of a Pop Warner league in a mid-sized Connecticut town, and he was saying that sign-ups for his team are way down, even though his team went to the Pop Warner Super Bowl last year, had real success, and he thinks it's because of parents' concerns about safety. Is this guy alone, or are you hearing other reports like that?
We've heard a few. Certainly don't like to hear that. I think the risk is you have parents unwilling to let their child play. There is a risk that youth football would be diminished in size, there would be less competition for it, a whole variety of negative consequences.
Can you really get the head out of football? I mean, it's still a collision sport where you're trying to knock somebody over and you're leaning forward when you do so.
I mean, certainly there's going to be accidental head-to-head contact, no matter what you try to mandate. But if you can reduce that so it's not intentional at all, it certainly reduces the exposure and therefore the risk.
Back with Tom Ferry. Our youth coaches, the training of youth coaches. Now, this survey that we conducted in conjunction with our series revealing that fans and also sports parenting, only 1 in 6 believe that youth coaches are properly trained. So this is what Pop Warner and every youth league is out against, the perception that these guys and women are not properly trained.
Well, they're not. There are 440,000 or so youth football coaches, according to USA Football, in the country. USA Football has only trained about 80,000 of those since 2007. And there's a whole new series of parents who cycle in each year who are not trained. I mean, we ask third grade teachers to be certified and trained and how to work with kids, but we don't ask that of coaches. And I think that survey tells you that parents now want their coaches to be trained in proper technique.
When you say the phrase safety in football, so often, as I mentioned at the top of the show, the spotlight falls on the National Football League. And they have an investment morally, financially, and ethically as citizens here in this country. And they're doing something, but describe their dog in this fight here, their interest.
Well, they have self-interest. Our survey shows that parents are now encouraging their kids to stay out of football, but it's also affecting their fandom as well. More than a quarter, or about a quarter of those parents say that their desire to watch a game or attend a game or follow the game in general has been diminished because of the awareness of these type of stories. So the NFL realizes that, it's the hand that rocks the cradle controls the world. So, I mean, they have a real issue with moms, with parents.
It's the pipeline issue, is it not?
It's the pipeline issue. I mean, parents may love the game, but they love their kid even more. So the NFL really has self-interest in making sure that parents know that this is a game that's, if it's not safe, at least it's safe enough. You can't bubble wrap kids, but at least we know it's an environment that kids aren't being introduced to undue dangers.
Well, that same survey revealed that those that feel that, a majority feeling that they have concerns about youth football, it will affect their attitudes about becoming consumers of pro football.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's getting hard for some people to watch an NFL game and see the kind of violence that you see and sort of cheer it when, especially if your kid's playing the game and he might come through that pipeline and play high school ball and who knows, maybe college ball. I mean, absolutely. This is all connected. There's not the NFL and there's youth football. It is part of a total system.
We've got about 20 seconds. Describe how Donovan gets to his therapy on a daily or weekly basis.
He does not have the money for a medical van, so his mother and his aunt pick him up, place him in their car, and then drive him 45 minutes to a rehab facility closer to San Diego.
No special
several
vehicle.
times a week. No special vehicle. No. He just doesn't have the money for it.
Incredible reporting, a wrenching story. Tom, thanks a great deal. Good to see you. You can read Tom's additional reporting online about the lack of funding for the NFL Youth Football Fund, an organization once flush, seeing its assets depleted.